Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakodash, double honors our apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Salutation to the elect, brethren, scattered across the four corners of the planet Earth. My name is Brother Barahi, and I'm here to preach the gospel of truth through the Holy Spirit, the Harakakodash, right? The Holy Spirit, in the name of Yahweh, which is the Father, and Yahweh Shai, which is Yahweh Shai, and the Son, right? The name of this lesson is what? Wars and Rumors of Wars, right? So this is the newspaper headlines for yesterday, the 29th of January, Tuesday the 29th of January 2009. U.S. imposed sanctions on Maduro. CARICOM team in UN meeting on Venezuela, right? The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago arrived at UN with a delegation. Him and his foreign minister, right? And what? Trinidad Guardian, and next one, oil pressure. Juan Guaido, right? Opposition National Assembly leader Juan Guaido, right? Who declared himself interim president, greets supporters as he leaves the church after attending a mass in Caracas, Venezuela on Sunday. Guaido says he is acting in accordance with two articles of his constitution that give the National Assembly president the right to hold power temporarily and call new election, right? But you know, the US and the EU, they said to Maduro to hold the next election, and he said no, right? And the US, they have been what, threatening. Well, actually, they put sanctions. They put a block or stay on the accounts or the gold reserves that they have in Europe, right, on Venezuela, which is causing more famine, more pestilence on Jacob down there in Venezuela. It says dozens of Venezuelans turned back at Cedras. So you see, they're fleeing. All this is scriptures, right? The scriptures say in Amos is the day of the Lord, right? It's gonna be like what? A man did flee. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get it really quick, because I kind of have to juggle between the Bible, holding the phone, and the papers, right? So let me get that really quick. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they drawn swords. Yet were they drawn swords, right? And as the words of the so-called Edomite man, which is in power right now, I'm speaking about the Americans, right? Because you had some words that was spoken in what, in the U.S. by the secretary. Listen, I just want to get. I saw it in the papers. I read it this morning. So let me just see if I can get it. You know, they speak as though they are for peace, but really actually they're for war. Right? The U.S. hits Venezuela with oil sanctions to press Maduro exit. Right? Now, National Security Advisor John Bolton speaks as Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin listens during press briefing at the White House on Washington. AP, the Trump administration imposed sanctions on Monday on the state-owned oil company of Venezuela, a potentially critical economic move aimed to increase pressure on President Nicolas Maduro to what? To cede power to the opposition, which is Juan Guaido, the person who they set up, right? He's set up. They're using them as a puppet so that they can put themselves inside it to get them natural resources. So what they do, they put a stay on the money across there, the gold reserves that worth over one point something billion dollars, right? And then a matter of fact, I can read on a little bit. It says National Security Advisor John Bolton and Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin announced the measure against the company. They are also aimed at boosting Maduro's rival of opposition leader Juan Guaido. You see, they are also aimed at boosting Maduro's rival, right? So they're lifting him up because he will give them that foot inside the door in Venezuela for them to take all their natural resources, right? So the words, the scripture says the words of the mouth are smoother than butter, right? So they're trying to see that they're trying to seem as though they are the knight in shining armor. They're gonna bring what salvation to the Venezuelans, right? You remember this? You remember what is their motto, which is who they are talking about, the Edomites, order of KO, right? The rulers, the bankers, right? The wicked that rule, order of chaos. So they come in with that order, right? And they're gonna continue. The wicked gonna continue doing wickedly, right? There's a proud man. They're not gonna change, even though they're being made out. And the Lord said what? He's gonna uncover their nakedness in Isaiah 47. So like here, if I don't bring out much of the precept by reading from the book, from the Bible, because as I said, I had to juggle the camera and the papers and the Bible, right? But I'll just quote. It says, they are also aimed at boosting Maduro's rival opposition leader Juan Guaido, whom the administration recognized last week as Venezuela's legitimate leader. The sanctions will include a freeze on any assets the firm may have in U.S. jurisdiction and bar Americans from doing business with it. No, within the opposition, within the Americas, they have interest in Venezuelan oil. America was doing trade with Venezuela for quite a while, right? From since I think it's the 1999, they was doing trade with them, right? And the constitution was changed up, right, by Hugo Chavez, right? And they were still doing trade with them, right? They called Hugo Chavez and Maduro what? Dictators, right? But yet still they was doing business with them. So they are hypocrites, right? Because it was benefiting. But Venezuela has some of the world's, or if not the world's greatest oil reserve, right? Now I post up a video by Florida Marquis, right? If you go through that video, you'll be edified on what the depths and the history of the Venezuelan constitution, which you're trying to impose. The article which I read, I think it was in the front page of this paper. So like that. No, not this one. It was Trinidad Guardian. Alright. There was the next paper that spoke about I don't know where I have it right now. Alright, look at here. Alright, so look, get right here. This paper spoke about what? Opposition National Assembly, right? It says with 2 articles of the Constitution that give the Assembly President the right to hold power temporarily call new elections, right? But these clauses are being misused, right? Because that's the US is backing this guy. They're being misused and abused, right? Because President Maduro was according to the Constitution, he was rightfully re-elected, right? Just a week ago or more, a week or 2 ago, right? Re-elected. Right? But the Americans want to get their foothold. They want to put their foot in Venezuela to get the natural resources, right? The sanctions will include freeze on any assets the firm may have in the U.S. jurisdiction and bar Americans from doing business with it. So why do they have assets with Venezuela if Venezuela is such a wicked, bad, they ruled by a dictator, right? Why they had assets there? Why they would allow them to bang there? Because they're hypocrites and now they're making the power play to get inside there, right? To get inside there and to what? To take the goal. It says Bolton said he expected actions. Bolton said he expected the actions would block US $7 billion in assets and cause more than US 11 billion in lost export proceeds during the next year. Now, if they were so concerned about these Venezuelan people, right, as Mike Pence came on the TV and he did his speech, right? If they're so concerned about the millions that's starving, right, and the violence and the crime, why continue to do this? Why continue to oppress the people? Because the people were oppressed in the first place. Why they suffering? Because of the sanctions that America already made against Venezuela and even some of their allies, Russia, China. In times past they would have waged sanctions against these countries too, right? Now the scripture said that the beast gonna hate the whore, right? Which are the nations, the EU and whatnot. But the EU right now they confederate with them in this affair, right? But then you have the allies of Russia, which we know that is the great nation destroy America. So all this is gonna lead up to what? War, right? Venezuela and Cuba, right, are strong allies with Russia, right? This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, right? And thou shalt be for booties unto them, because thou hast spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and all that dwell therein. Woe unto them that coveted an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Right? So they covet the oil, the natural resources, the gold, and so on and so forth for themselves. The whole I'm speaking about the Edomites, the bankers, because really and truly, Venezuela is, as I said, they have the greatest oil reserves in the world, and they also have a very huge gold mining going on over there. They have over 1 point something billion worth in gold across in the Bank of England. And what? These Edomites, they block them from getting their money. This same money would have been used so what? To alleviate the pressure or the oppression on the people. But they don't want that, right? They don't want that. They just want us. They're going to use their wicked oppression to what? To try and get Maduro out, right? Like it says here, U.S. sanctions on Venezuela's state-owned PDVSA. This is the oil company, right? 7 billion assets blocked, 11 billion in lost exports, right? This is the pressure that they put in, fire on top, fire below. Is the Edomites that causing the instability in what in Venezuela, right? Right? I just want to get one more because there was an article that says what? Watch, dozens of Venezuelans turned back at Cedros. Cedros is a port, right? Like a coastal area in Trinidad. As the crisis in Venezuela deepens, citizens continue to flee. A boatload of some 150 Venezuelans was yesterday turned away at Cedros port because of an overflowing cesspit. The stench drove the custom and immigration officials away as none turned out to work, right? So you're turning them back for these simple reasons. They can turn back and be killed, right? There was a family, there was about 5 fishermen that was caught in Venezuelan waters, and guess what? The pirates demanded $200,000 for these men, right? Poor fishermen, $200,000 for these men. And America and the Edomite, really and truly is the Edomite man, the bankers. They put in this wicked oppression upon these nations to bow to their philosophy, their way, their democracy, and the Most High is going to judge them, right? The Most High is going to judge them. Great judgment is going to come down on this devil, right? The words of his mouth are smoother than butter. So they seem, or they would portray themselves to be what? The knight in shining armor, right? But really and truly, they causing the uprising. They causing the unrest, right? The Edomite, the bankers, right? The Bilderbergers, the Oppenheimers, they causing it because of their greed and the wicked covetousness. All these are signs of the times that we are in, right? This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. Just on verse 4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Mashiach, and shall deliver and deceive many. Right? So that concerns these false camps and these false preachers and teachers, because Yahushua said that he is the spirit of prophecy. Right? So if you're not prophesying, if you're not breaking down what's happening, right? Speaking about the times, filtering the news, being a watchman, right? You're not in the spirit of Yahushua. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So all these things they must come to pass, and this is what we're seeing here, right? So the parable has ceased, right? That's since the days of our fathers, all things remain as it were, right? That's in 2 Peter. We'll get that real quick. It's 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3, verse 4, and said, where is the promise of his coming? Yeah, Yahushua is coming back. Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 1, going down, tells you, measured out the time diligently within itself. Right? Make a judgment. These things has never happened on the earth before. The amount of wars and rumors of wars. It says, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation, right? They're ignorant because these things it doesn't continue as it was, right? The prophecies are now being fulfilled. The prophecies are now being fulfilled, right? This is Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 11. Yeah, this is Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 22. Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged and every vision faileth? Tell them, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. So that goes back to Habakkuk chapter 2. The vision is yet for an appointed time. Now is the time. We're seeing all that hell breaking loose, wars, rumors of wars, right? What do you think is going to happen? Right? Jacob's trouble is going to hit Trinidad real hard. For example, Trinidad and Tobago, our gross domestic product was what? Sugar cane at a point in time many years ago, coming out of slavery. We used to have cocoa, coffee, and coconut, right? They did away with all of these things. But who did away? The government, the state-owned enterprises, they did them away, right? Now what the last thing that they had to call upon themselves was what? The National Petroleum Company, right? Petrotrin, which is the oil and gas company, and guess what? They closed down the refinery. So guess what? The last deal that they were trying to hope to push Trinidad to what? Tourism was what? A deal with Sanders Hotel. But that falls short. Sanders withdrew. So now we have no gross domestic in product as in a big export. Tourism from one island, which is Tobago, isn't doing it. Trinidad is full of crime. Right? International report. Right? What's going to happen? The same things these Venezuelans are fleeing from in Venezuela is going to come right here. Right? Because Trinidad is in league with Venezuela. They did a deal with Maduro last year to buy oil and gas from what? From the Dragon Field. From the Dragon Field. US ambassador came out and said, hey, what's our stance? Our prime minister said, we're going to stay out. and our opposition leader said that they're gonna they right. The Prime Minister had to say he's gonna stay out. You know why he has to say he's gonna stay out? Because he did a deal with Maduro, and the US put sanctions, and the majority of our import, our food, right, and our resources come from the US and the UK, both which agree that Juan Guaido is a so-called non-democratic move, right? A hypocritical move, because he is trying to usurp Nicolas Maduro, right? And he is being set up by the US, by the bankers, so that they can get a foothold into the resources, right? So what is going to take place? Russia is not saying much, but it's saying enough. Listen to the unspoken word. America, the Russian press conference, they said what? America says they putting all cards on the table. So the Russians watching and they waiting. They're not going to speak. They're not going to sell out themselves. America loves to speak before they talk, before they act. But the Russians waiting, right? War is in the air. This place is about to go down, right? This place is going down. Babylon is done, right? With that, we give all praise and say, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Araka Kodash. Pray the lesson was edifying. Alright? Salutations and peace to all the elect